And the mentality of, I don't want to face the trouble down the there may not be a down the road if you don't call that ambulance, right? We may not be worried about your discipline. We may about worried about your family, and that's not a situation that anybody wants to be in.
The facts, dates, and events presented in this video are from the member's best recollection and may not be fully accurate. This video is intended for entertainment purposes only. Always consult with your local union about your rights and duties at your workplace. The opinions shared on this video are our own and do not necessarily represent my employer's positions, strategies, or opinions. All views shared are protected under the National Labor Relations Act.
What is going on, everybody? So today I have Greg Kerwood, Local 25 in Boston, and we're at the beginning of the summer months, and the heat is really impacting hard right now. You know, in the past we've seen, people like putting temperature guns in the back of their trucks and coming up to like 117 degrees. Somebody posted one recently. It was like 138 degrees. It is nuts. And some people have been leaving comments in our comment section saying they've had actual coworkers pass away recently. Unfortunately, we've had 2 people pass away recently. I don't know if they're completely heat related. I don't have the details on that, but still, this is an important subject. I think everybody needs to be informed on their rights, on how to deal with heat. And this isn't a lecture. We're not trying to give lectures here, but we want you to be informed in case you fall into that situation. So, dealing with the heat right now, with these 100-degree days and everything else, we're not just dealing with the days in general being hot, but we're dealing with the high stop counts and management pulling people in the office and almost like interrogating them. I've heard reports where people are being pulled in the office and they're critiquing their day. They're going through, what were you doing at this stop for 3 minutes yesterday? What were you doing that stop for 2 minutes yesterday? Greg, what's your take on all this?
Well, I mean, the company is once again, as usual, trying to do more with less. They want to keep their labor costs as low as possible while continuing to increase volume and deliver more packages. And the only way to do that is to get into people's heads and make them think that they have to work faster. If management is pulling you into the office and going through your day step by step, just remember, first, you should have your steward in there always, even if they come up to you and it seems like a casual conversation. Ask for your steward. And second of all, nobody should be expected to remember every single thing. And you're not obligated to answer every single question if you don't know the answer. It is perfectly okay to say, I don't know what I was doing for those 3 minutes. I don't remember those 3 minutes. Or, you'll have to tell me, where I was. I didn't write down every single thing I did yesterday. Don't feel like you have to guess or make up something I mean, I've even seen people get like excited that they know the right answer, and say, "Oh, those were the 3 minutes that I was doing." But like they're so happy that they know what they're talking about that they just spout off whatever it was. That's not to your advantage. If you don't know what you were doing, you don't remember, or whatever it is, it's up to them to visually see you doing something wrong in order to discipline you. And if you're answering questions with guesses and speculation and might have, could have, maybe excuses, you're just giving them the information to discipline you with. So keep your answers short. And if you don't know, just say you don't know. And if you're unsure, don't guess, don't speculate.
With these days that are extremely hot and management pushing people to go faster, there could be situations where people go out there and they end up like taking their entire break. They're just trying to hurry up and get done. They see they got 50 stops left. They're not feeling well, and they feel like they need to cool down. Greg, how would you handle something like that?
In that situation, management is required by the new contract to follow their heat stress policy. And part of that policy is that people can take cooling breaks. You want to inform management, send them a message through the dyad that you're not feeling well, you need to cool down. They may direct you to punch out for it or not. As far as we're concerned, it should be a paid break. But you work as directed, you punch out for it, and you file a grievance to get paid. But take the break. Inform them, it isn't a, do I have your permission to do it? It's, I need to do this. And you take the break, go to someplace cool, and see if that helps. But, the other side of it is, that isn't the cure for everything. And so if it doesn't help and you're still not well, that's where you need to move on to something more serious. Either I have to come off the road, or if you think it's the case and need be, you call 911 and you get in an ambulance and go to a hospital. It's still up to you. You know your body. It's your body. You know how you feel, and it's your safety that's at risk. And so you need to make those decisions and not feel like the unmedically trained people who are sitting in an office, air conditioned, 15 miles away, can somehow decide whether or not you're okay enough to keep delivering.
So that kind of leads into our next thing, where I've had people contact me and they told me where maybe a member doesn't feel well and they contact management, and management just tells them to go to like the lightest steps possible, right? They say, oh, go get some AC. Okay, we're just going to bring the route back. We're going to take you to like Caduceus or Concentra or whatever, but they're really not in good shape.
Well, that is the most dangerous situation of all. And that is what is leading to indirectly these deaths and serious heat injuries that we see. It's up to the member to decide they need medical attention and call 911. If you're injured and it's something, different, you can maybe decide whether you need, an ambulance or whatever. But when it comes to the heat, first of all, if you're suffering heat stress, you are in no position to be making coherent decisions about, what level of care you need. That's why you need medical attention. And second of all, you don't know, unless you're a doctor with, equipment that can measure your pulse rate and your heart rate and things that are going on inside you. There's no way to tell just how severe your situation is just by looking at you. And so, certainly management isn't going to know. And what we need to get over is this notion that we report to the company first and get their opinion on medical care and what they're willing to do, because we don't want to get in trouble. When it comes to the heat related issues, you need to call 911. And if you don't want to call 911 or you're not sure because you're feeling incoherent, you need to get on the phone to your steward or get on the phone to a member that will call 911 for you, and let them call 911. And then you can notify management, hey, I called 911. And if there's any fallout from that after the fact, that will be dealt with. But, as a steward, I would rather sit in 1,000 hearings than go to one funeral. And so I'm not going to take that chance. Nobody should be taking that chance. If it were a stranger on the side of the road, none of us would be taking that chance. We would immediately call 911. And so, if we're going to sit around and wait for management to do the right thing, people must be working at a different company than I work at, because that's not going to happen. They are not going to call 911. It's going to be incumbent upon you to do so, or somebody that you trust to do so. So make those phone calls first, and then you can let management know that you're going to the hospital and an ambulance is coming because you need emergency services, and let them handle the rest. But beyond that, your life comes first, plain and simple. And the mentality of, I don't want to face the trouble down the road. There may not be a down the road if you don't call that ambulance, right? We may not be worried about your discipline. We may be worried about your family. And that's not a situation that anybody wants to be in. So call 911.
Yeah, I think this is actually really important. I think I want to chime in on it. It's just that we've been seeing too many times where somebody is trying to report an injury, trying to report that they actually do need medical attention, and management will do everything but give them medical attention in a time where they're actually in critical shape, where they actually do need to go to the emergency room. Instead of dancing around saying, oh, just stay in some AC, you cool off, everything else. And listen, management are not doctors, they're managers. So if you feel like you need to go to the ER or whatever, call 911, go to the ER. That's your decision to make. As Greg said, we'll fight it down the panel later down the road if it needs to be. But this is, your life's more important than boxes. Okay. And the other thing, I got to hand it to Greg. He brought this up, and I think this is very important. There was a PCM outlined back in May 20th, 2024, talking about heat safety. And one of the things that's highlighted on here, and I'll put it on the screen right now, says on extremely hot days or during heat waves, maintain a slower pace and take frequent breaks. This is their words. This is UPS's words. Another thing it says is if someone shows signs of stress, call 911 right away. So the company is pushing this, and I think it's important that we follow through, because I know there are people out there that are trying to rush and get done, and I totally understand. Listen, I do the same job you do. I don't want to be out there any later than anybody else does. But when it comes to your safety and your health, that takes priority over that. So, I mean, this is the career I chose, and I'm happy to make the money I make and enjoy the benefits from it. And I want to have a life outside of this place, but I've always known that UPS comes in waves where you'll go through some easy days and you'll come through some hard days. And right now it seems like we're going through a lot of hard days. Greg, is there anything you want to add on to this before we close out?
I would just reiterate to people that, you really have to look out for your own health and safety out there. As you said, these people are managers. They're concerned with boxes, they're concerned with production, they're concerned with everything but your health and safety. And so it's up to you and up to us as a group, as a collective, to look out for each other. And it sort of boggles my mind that, if we saw somebody on the side of the road who was in obvious distress, none of us would hesitate. We would call 911. We wouldn't sit there and question, are you sure you really need it? Or maybe we can just stick you over here next to the cooler or whatever. We would call 911 and err on the side of caution. And for some reason, when we're wearing a brown uniform, we somehow think that needs to go through management approval. And it simply doesn't. If someone's life is at stake, you need to call 911, whether for yourself or for a fellow member. Err on the side of caution. Make sure they're okay, save their life, possibly, and we'll deal with the rest of it later. But, again, we can't have a hearing and protect your job if you're not around to do it anymore.
All right, and so I kind of want to give these two links real quick. If you want more information on this subject, TDU has a webinar that covers this, and so does the International. The IBT has a webinar as well on heat safety. Check those out. But we just wanted to cover it as well. That's all I have, everybody. And if you have not done so already, follow the Teamster Media Hub. Greg Kerwood runs that on Facebook. We're going to try to keep these videos short during the summer months. But listen, I love you guys for tuning in. I know you're probably exhausted and tired just like I am, but I think it's important that we try to keep you guys informed on what's going on. Anyways, love you, and I'll catch you next time.